Hey guys, I wanted to film this outside because it is a hard topic that we are discussing today. And if you guys have come to this video because you have the recent loss of a pet or you're anticipating one, I want to offer my deepest condolences, and I want to make this video to help you guys and help you work through your grief and figure out, sometimes when you lose a pet, you feel lost because there's not the same amount of support as there is if you were to lose a human or a friend. So I just want to cover a couple of things, and I just want you guys to let you know that you're not alone, and I am so sorry. So the first thing I want to talk about is that sometimes the circumstances can make your grief different. Every single loss is a different loss in a different way, and in a sense, every single loss takes a different piece of your heart. Over the years, I have lost many pets, just for the simple fact that they have shorter lifespans than us, unfortunately. But the three that stick out most in my mind are Bella, Pansy, and Midnight. Now, Bella was a Labrador Retriever. She was only 4 years old when she passed, and she passed due to hemangiosarcoma, which is blood cancer. That was back in 2013. Pansy passed away December 16th, 2015. She was an 8-year-old tabby rescue cat, and she had oral cancer, oral sarcoma or something, and it was basically incurable. Midnight was a 1-year-old rescue cat, and he passed away 3 days ago, and the circumstances surrounding his death was a car accident. So I want to take a minute and talk about how different circumstances can affect your grief, because with mostly I want to talk about Pansy and Midnight and compare the two, and they're two totally different animals, but it is you kind of work through the grief process and you kind of can think you know what to expect. With Pansy, she was diagnosed with oral cancer just a little bit after Thanksgiving, and we had that time to know what was going to happen. We had a plan in mind of when it was going to be too late and when enough was enough. And we expected it, and we had forewarning. And so for 2 weeks we were able to love on her, give her all her favorite treats while she could still eat. And when it came time to put her to sleep, it was kind of expected. We were able to prepare for it. And so the grief still hit us, but it was hit us in a different way. It was a way of, this animal is now out of suffering and there was nothing else we could do for it. In the case of Midnight, he was a year old, and it was an accident, basically. And unfortunately, you can't bubble-proof the world, and in a way, the grief is different because, first of all, it's just the shock of the suddenness, and you're caught off guard, and for me, which I'll be talking about the different feelings of grief, but you don't anticipate something like that happening, so when it does, then it totally catches you off guard, and it's a whole different ball game. And so I want to talk about now kind of working through the grief process, and kind of I'm in that stage right now. And there is no set time limit. Some people will tell you, oh, it's just an animal, move on. Or it's been 2 months, move on. There is no set time difference. There is no right or wrong when it comes to grief. And there is just these feelings inside of you that you can't control. And they're just a testament to the love that you shared with your pal. So the first thing I want to talk about is usually, which I was talking about, especially in the case of Midnight, and usually in the case of when an accident or an unexpected thing happens, is you just kind of go into this shock state. You're kind of in shock, and I even remember saying to my best friend, because I called her after it happened, I was like, I don't feel sad. Why don't I feel sad? I feel numb, like this is a dream. And usually this will occur immediately following, even if you have put your animal to sleep and you were expecting it, it can still happen. It's your body's way of processing that without hitting you all at once to the point you wouldn't be able to handle it. It's your way of slowly letting the realization sink in. And usually after this numbness feeling wears off is when the sadness and the anger and sometimes the guilt can come in. And sometimes you may have anger feelings toward why me, why this, why. You ask a lot of these why or what if type questions. And there can sometimes be guilt with that. What if I'd taken her to the vet earlier? What if, he hadn't crossed the street at that moment? What if my pet had done this or I had done this? And you can't, it's a normal part of grief, but at the same time you can't do those types of things because all you're doing is putting the blame on yourself when there's nothing you could have done. And perhaps the most profound feeling is the sadness, the immense feeling that your friend, your pet, however long you had them, is no longer at your side every day, and there's this void that is there that you're not used to, and kind of it's getting used to that void, getting used to your pet not being there, and there's this sadness. And eventually, somewhere down the road, you come to the point of acceptance. And this is where I'm saying there's no set time limit. It could be a week. It could be a year. There is absolutely no set time limit. You come to the point of acceptance where you realize there was nothing else that could have been done in that situation. And you start to remember, for me, what clicked the most, especially I'm thinking back to Bella. Acceptance comes at the point where you start remembering, when you think about your pet, you don't think about the circumstances surrounding their death or the weeks prior to that. You start thinking about the happy memories. Like, for example, instead of me remembering Bella sick, I would start remembering the day that we went over the agility course and she dragged me through the mud. You start thinking of these happy memories and you start smiling and you start accepting what has happened. And like I said, I want to stress so much, there is no set time limit to this, and it just happens the way that it happens. I want to press another point that you are not alone. Sometimes when you're going through this, especially with a pet loss, because sometimes people don't understand that it can feel the exact same way as a loss of a person, that you are not alone. One of my vital tools has been a pet loss support page on Facebook, and there's also Rainbow's Bridge Pet Loss Support Forum, and there's just so much out there. And you're not alone. People go through this every day and they feel the way that you do, and you're not strange for feeling the way that you do. And it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to express your feelings, and it helps to talk it out with people who understand. So for me, it's been a vital tool in overcoming the loss, is talking it on these pet loss support forums and pages, because you're with people who understand exactly what you're going through. And lastly, I kind of want to touch on the topic of your pet is gone, now what? You feel this void, you feel this emptiness, and you're not sure what to do. For us, we've always had a lot of pets, so even if after one passes away, there's other pets to lean on. And if you do have other pets, and this can be a vital resource because you can lean on those pets, you can appreciate their love, and honestly, it makes you appreciate your pets that much more, because you realize how quickly everything can change. And as far as honoring your pet who has passed on, for me personally, it's going to be different for every single person, but I'll just list to you what has helped me. And that is having some sort of ceremony, whether it was like for Pansy, where we kind of said our goodbyes at the vet, and we kind of ended it there. And then for midnight, it was like, after we'd buried him, I just sat there and kind of said our goodbyes. And it's going to be different depending on the circumstances, but having some sort of goodbye ceremony can be really beneficial and help you heal and say those last words that you want to say to your pet. And then I'll typically write a letter to the pet, and I'll place it on the grave, or if, like in the case of Pansy, they're cremated, I'll just write a letter, write down my feelings, and maybe put it in the breeze, burn it, put it on the grave, just write it down. And it helps to write down your feelings and what you're feeling and why you're feeling this way. And it kind of is like a helpful tool to get out everything you want to say without having to say it. And then just, I tend to make tribute videos on YouTube. You'll actually see for Pansy, Midnight, and Bella, I have them. And it just is a way to go back through those happy memories when you see those clips and those pictures. And I'm telling you guys, you would probably cry, you will probably start feeling immense amounts of grief, but once I have completed the video and I can go back and I can look at it, it's kind of a way to recap all the happy memories and put those images back in my mind. And basically those are the three things I do, but sometimes people will, you know, they just, everybody does it differently, and you can look on Google, you know, ways to cope with pet loss and stuff. But those are just the personal things that I do that help me. And lastly, I want to touch on the topic of when is it okay to get another pet. And again, this is one of those things where there is absolutely no set timeline. After Bella died, I got Panda, my current dog, about 11 days later, because there was just this void that needed to be filled. And it felt right. It's not replacing your lost pet, but it's giving a life and a home to a new one. And with Pansy, in the case of Pansy, after Pansy died is when we got Sahara and Midnight, which was about a month later. And as far as Midnight, there's no plans when, or it's just, you don't need to plan it out. You don't need to say, oh, I need to go get another pet, or oh, I can't do that because I'm betraying my old pet. It's when it feels right to you. If you need another pet right away, go for it. If you want to wait a month, a week, a year, do that as well. Just don't expect your new pet to be like your old pet. Don't go in there with expectations of the kind of personality, the kind of way you want them to look and all that. Just go in there with an open mind and learn to fall in love with your new pet, just like you have with all your past pets. And that's basically the information that I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that it's helpful. And again, I offer my deepest condolences. I know where you're coming from. It is a hard place to be, but I will tell you guys that it does get better. And eventually, someday, you will open your home to new life, and you'll fall in love all over again. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope I was able to be helpful.